The Squad, the drama queens of Congress, worshipped as celebrities by the mainstream media, young women of color spewing a toxic ideology. In politics, money, of course, rules all. Enough money can get almost anybody elected. In Congress, raising money is more important than actually making laws. We just watched California Governor Gavin Newsom survive a recall election. The numbers were really close. And then just a few weeks before the election, the gap widened and suddenly Newsom was safe. Why? An avalanche of cash. Pro-Newsom ads dominated local news commercial breaks, radio airwaves, NFL games. You spend enough and you win. In Congress, big money can be even more unsettling. Where does the money come from? What happens when coastal liberal elites use their money to elect their preferred politicians to represent places like Michigan or Missouri? Squad activist, squad member and BLM activist, Congresswoman Cori Bush, actually only gets about 17% of her campaign donations from the state that she represents. 83% of her funding comes from out of state. Think about that for a second. Her district, which includes much of St. Louis, hit a 50-year homicide rate high at the beginning of 2021, 87 murders per 100,000 residents, a rate that's 3 times higher than Mexico and Central America. In St. Louis, Cori Bush has done nothing to fix the crime rate in St. Louis. She pushed hard, in fact, to defund the police, which happened in her own city, which leads to more of her own constituents actually dying, not because that's what her voters want, but because it's what rich liberals in San Francisco want. The type of people who donate to congressmen, women 2,000 miles away. Rich idealists who don't care if crime rises in St. Louis because they live in gated communities somewhere else. Bush pushes to defund the police while spending $70,000 on her own private security, as you now know. Last month, she desperately tried to defend herself from that hypocrisy.
I'm going to make sure I have security because I know I have had attempts on my life. If I end up spending $200,000, if I spend $10 more on it, you know what? I get to be here to do the work. So suck it up, and defunding the police has to happen.
She is a horrible person. If you listen to that soundbite, utterly shameful. That's disgusting. A bunch of you inner city peasants may have to die. Not me. But you may have to die so we can defund the police. Suck it up, she says. What a joke of a member of Congress. Last year, the U.S. murder rate rose by 30%. Biggest rise in murder since the start of national record keeping in 1960, according to the FBI. That was the true cost of people like Cori Bush, the true cost of the left's crusade to destroy policing in this country. Liberals cut police salaries and the left threatened retribution. Police across the country retreated. Even the most dedicated officers, who now face a greater risk of being sued, fired, or prosecuted for doing their job, feel pressure, of course, to pull back. Thousands more people died. That was the cost of defund the police. Let's move on to AOC. Last week, the media fawned over Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez appearing at the star-studded Met Gala in that now infamous tax-the-rich dress. She blended right in with all the liberal elites who support her. She even scored a free $35,000 ticket to the event. For as much as this young woman loves money, and trust us, she does, AOC proudly chases big business out of her own state. 2019, you remember she, along with other progressives, forced Amazon to cancel its plans to open a second corporate headquarters in New York City. It would have brought 25,000 jobs, and these are really good paying jobs. It's a corporate headquarters for Amazon. Progressives and union leaders contended that a tech giant didn't deserve $3 billion in government incentives. These people obviously think jobs grow on trees. They're not too bright. After she got her way, AOC posted this picture on Twitter, writing, "Me waiting on the haters to apologize after we were proven right on Amazon and saved the public billions of dollars." Part of her charm is that she doesn't even realize how stupid she is. She just smiles and walks on. 80% of AOC's donations come from out of state. A major chunk, $234,000 for AOC, coming from California, compared to $179,000 from the state she actually represents, New York. And let's be clear, that New York money, the $179,000, is not from her district. It's from people who attend the Met Gala. The same toxic crew tried and failed miserably to defund Israel's Iron Dome this week, the rocket protection device system that prevents deadly missiles out of Gaza from killing innocent people. Yeah, the Squad somehow has an issue with that. They hate it. And they fought hard in their attempt to have more missiles killing Israeli women and children. What a nice fight. The House passed a standalone bill to resupply our ally Israel with $1 billion for that system. Democrats along with Republicans. AOC made a mockery of it and cried as Democrats and Republicans joined together in destroying this woke, demonic mission. Well, she probably fake cried, which is what she does. Her friend Rashida Tlaib, a Palestinian American herself, called this $1 billion to Israel wasteful spending, a very tempered response, if we might say so ourselves. I'd love to know what she actually said about this behind closed doors. 5% of Tlaib's money, Rashida Tlaib in Michigan, just 5% come from her own state. 95% of her money comes from out of state. She supposedly represents people in Detroit, Michigan. Or does she? Think for a moment about the threat to our country this represents. These are the most fashionable people in Congress, right? Coastal elites imposing their will on your life simply by having the most money, having enough money to waste on women like this, buying the politicians that run your community, buying the politicians that want to defund the police, killing people in your community, destroying your cities, all being run by money coming from places that are completely insulated against the effects of what they are doing. Coming from places like California and people living in $10 million houses, people that go to the Met Gala, paying to defund the police in middle America. How horrifying is that?
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.